Yesterday morning when we were in the 60s, we're anywhere from 19 to 25 degrees colder. So a big noticeable difference out there. As you head out the door this morning, you'll want those jackets. You may even want the longer sleeves into the later part of the day today because 63 is about as good as it gets in the upstate, and in the mountains you don't get out of the 50s. So it's going to be a much cooler day, especially from where we've come from. 70s yesterday afternoon, 80s over the weekend. So this is a big time change for us. 49 degrees here at 9 o'clock, 58 as we head towards noon, 63 as you look towards 3 o'clock this afternoon. Grab those sunglasses. It is going to be a nice dry day out there. We've got very cold temperatures overnight tonight, which could threaten some of your plants out there. I'll tell you what you need to do ahead of that potential frost and freeze coming up here in just a few minutes. But right now I want to send things over to our first alert traffic expert, Chris Scott. He's going to look at those drive times that don't look good right now.
Yeah, they're in the red. 385 right from exit 31 to Malden. Exit 34, that's about 32 miles an hour south at around the 27 miles an hour right now on 85 between BMW and the 385 area. Augusta Road at Fork Shoals Road, brand new accident working there. Also another one.
Now the data getting turned in this morning, and then we'll get the update on Thursday as to where we're at with the drought status. But I do think the rain from Sunday and Monday is really going to help to alleviate a lot of issues. So I expect that we're going to see big improvements in the drought monitor once we get into the day on Thursday. We're dry for the next couple of days. Things nice and quiet back off to our west, and that front is now out over the Atlantic Ocean. Cool high pressure builds in, and that's what's going to give us these cooler days here. Our next rain chance is actually going to come in as we head through the day on Thursday into the mountains, and then pick up in the upstate Thursday night into Friday morning with another low pressure system coming in. This one's not going to be as significant of a rainmaker, but it is going to put a little bit of a damper on your plans as we head into the day on Friday with those scattered showers on and off through the day, and then possibility of even some snow in the mountains Friday night into the morning hours on Saturday. Quickly clearing out though into the afternoon. The upstate looking dry on Saturday, and then that small chance for some of those snow showers into the mountains there. So a closer look here at Thursday. We're starting to get some of the short range data in. Shows that things are pretty quiet into those early hours of the morning. We'll start to see a couple of spotty showers late into the morning hours, and then pick up a little bit more into the afternoon, especially as we get closer to the dinner hour. About 4 or 5 o'clock, we start to see that better chance for showers working in, and it looks pretty widespread across the mountains as we head into those evening hours, starting to pick up more so into the upstate after we get past about 10 o'clock at night, and then continues, and this is as far out as that data goes right now, so we'll get another update on that here as we head through the next couple of days. Rainfall totals though, we're looking at about 1/4 to around 1/2 inch of rain, so as I mentioned, not quite the significant rainmaker that we have seen or that we saw out of this last one. Today and tomorrow though, we've got cooler high pressure in place, so that is going to keep us with afternoon highs in the mid 60s across the upstate, 50s into the mountains. So I would grab a jacket today as you're headed out and about. Cold tonight as we drop into the upper 30s to low 40s across the upstate and below freezing into the mountains. We are going to talk in the next half hour about what you need to do today to prep your yard for everything for tomorrow morning. It's the coldest morning though that we've got, because after that we get back into the 40s for overnight lows and even some 50s out there into the upstate. So it's the one morning that we've got that concern for the potential for frost and a freeze. Even for the mountains, you're looking at some warmer temperatures going forward as well. Overall though, this next 7 days we're looking at some below normal temperatures, not quite where we should be for the middle part of April. Want to send things over right 68 for an afternoon high today. No issues with the weather like they had yesterday at Augusta National, and keep in mind it's a pretty similar looking forecast for us here today, just a little bit cooler. We should only get into those mid 60s for us here across the area this afternoon. Absolutely beautiful weather continues for the next couple of days, but with clear skies tonight, we are going to see a cool overnight hours. We'll talk more about what you need to do to protect your plants tonight coming up here in just a few minutes. But right now I want to send things over to one of the hardest working men in TV this morning, our first alert traffic expert, Chris Scott.
Yeah, it's been busy. I need a golf outing. That's what I need to do. Just take off and go play golf. That'll ease everything for today. It has been busy this morning, no question about it. We still have some active accidents in progress around Greenville County, West Georgia Road around Fork Shoals Road. Look out for this one at Augusta at Fork Shoals, and another one at East North and 290.
Is this time of year, which is about 71. Otherwise, we spend the next 5 days for the most part with below normal temperatures, including today, where we're seeing temperatures drop quite a bit from yesterday. We're at 65 in Travelers Rest as well as Simpsonville, down to Clinton, 63 up into Blacksburg, but with a lot of sunshine out there today. 66 easily down to Williamston with 68 in Calhoun Falls as well as Bowman. So I would possibly get those t-shirts, the pants out there today, maybe even high pressure. Our temperatures tonight dropping into the upper 30s to the low 40s across the upstate and below freezing into the mountains, upper 20s to low 30s there across the area. So you do need to take some precautions today if you have already done spring planting or you've got some sensitive plants from annuals that have started to sprout out there. Bringing your potted plants inside, cover up your flower beds, and use light sheets or burlap sacks. Another thing you can do tonight before you go to bed is water your plants around sunset. That water actually, wet soil actually cools off slower, so that can help keep that as the evaporation raises that air temperature around the plants. That actually helps to keep those plants a little bit warmer. So this is another thing you can do before you head to bed tonight to make sure that those plants are going to be protected. Our average last freeze date, we've actually passed it for parts of the upstate here, Anderson, Toccoa, down towards Greenwood. We typically see that at the end of March, but right now we're kind of in this window here for the rest of the upstate. So this is why we typically say don't plant until after tax day. Now in the mountains, you shouldn't be planting really until we get into May. As you could see, your average last freeze into the last week of April. Now keep in mind that's a freeze, that's not necessarily the frost out there. The good news is this is the coldest morning we're looking at for Wednesday. As we're starting to see those temperatures climb back into the 40s and even the 50s across the upstate, we'll still see some 30s out there for the mountains, but it won't be quite as bad as those freezing temperatures. So really tomorrow morning's the morning you got to worry about when it comes to that spring planting. Tomorrow afternoon still on the cooler side with those afternoon highs only into the 60s, and then we gradually start to warm back into those 70s. But the mountains, we've got several more days of 50s on Friday and Saturday as our next rain chance comes through. And we'll talk more about that rain chance in the next coming 3 in Greenwood, 50 Greenville down to Lawrence, with Clemson, Gaffney, Union, and Elberton still is hanging out in those upper 40s. In the mountains, you got more of a mixed bag where you got that 38 in Bakersville to 46 in Franklin, out to Asheville and into Rutherfordton. So definitely, again, grab those extra layers on the way out the door this morning. We're probably going to need some longer sleeves even into the afternoon with 59 at 1 o'clock. Those long sleeves probably still necessary at that point. In the mountains, you don't get out of the 50s, so you probably want those jackets or the long sleeves all day long. In the upstate, some of you may want to switch to a t-shirt by about 6 o'clock with that 63. Some of you, if you're like me, though, probably still wearing the long sleeves well into this afternoon. Everybody needs the sunglasses, though, across the board today because we are looking at a beautiful dry day. We'll talk more about the next rain chance that's on the way and how little amount of rain that one's going to bring to us coming up here in just a few minutes. But right now, I want to send things over to our First Alert traffic expert, Chris Scott. Chris, I-85 has been just a problem today.
Yeah, it really has. And we have another accident. This is at the Greenville-Anderson County border. It's in the left and center lanes right now. We do know there are injuries. We don't know how serious they are, but we do know that there are, and the 2 lanes are blocked up right now. This is at the 39-mile marker, 40-mile marker, actually around exit 40 at 153 as you're...
Much needed rain because of the drought that we still have ongoing across our area. Now, the data gets is submitted today, so that's going to include yesterday and Sunday, and then we'll get that updated drought monitor on Thursday, and I do anticipate it to be some positive news across our area where a lot of us are going to get dropped out of those normally dry issues, and we may see backed off from moderate to abnormally dry, and so I do anticipate some good news coming down the pipeline as we head into the later part of the week. We do have more rain on the way, but it's not for a couple of days. We've got nice dry conditions, as you can see, all across our west. That front from yesterday now well offshore and expected to continue to move away from our area. So we're going to jump ahead in time as we head into the day on Thursday. That's going to be our next system that brings us some scattered showers Thursday morning across the mountains into the afternoon, and then overnight is when we start to see that dive into the upstate, and we get widespread scattered showers during the day on Friday across all of the western Carolinas. Clears out for the upstate Friday night into Saturday, but a little bit of lingering snow possible into the mountains there. So another cool down on the backside of this system as we head into Saturday morning. That's going to be the higher elevations of the mountains, I should say, but clears out Saturday morning. It makes way for a drier weekend ahead. Now, in terms of our rain chances, looking ahead, we're starting to get some of that short range data in for the day on Thursday. Starting off on the drier note with just some scattered showers mid to late morning across the high mountains there, and then continuing to build until we up through about 4 or 5 o'clock. By 5 o'clock in the evening, that's when we start to see some more of those substantial showers working their way in from the west. Still fairly dry in the upstate until we get into the overnight hours, and that's when we start to see that better chance for rain headed into Friday morning. So Friday is going to be the day for the upstate. We're going to see more of a damper on your outdoor plans. Thursday is going to be hit and miss for the mountains. And again, Friday looks like the higher impact day. Rainfall totals, though, about 1/10 of an inch to around 1/2 an inch of rain. Not nearly as much as we got out of the last system. But hey, we'll still take a little bit of rain headed into the weekend just before we get into the weekend as well. Our temperatures today on the backside of what we got yesterday and the day before. That cold front is dropping our temperatures into the mid 60s this afternoon, about 63 to 67 in the upstate, even colder in the mountains with those 50s. And looking ahead to tomorrow morning, we've got chilly temperatures on the way. I'll tell you in the next half hour how that's going to impact what you need to do tonight to prepare your gardens for those chilly temperatures headed into tomorrow morning. But it is the coldest morning we've got. As we head into the rest of the week, we're going to see those temperatures build back into the 40s and 50s for overnight lows. Overall, though, below normal temperatures for the next 7 days until we get to Monday. That's when we'll finally start to warm up a little bit more. Ladies?
Well, now to a first alert for you this morning.
A lot of sunshine out there, though, so that's the good news. You got 67 from Liberty into Seneca as well as Hartwell, 68 in Abbeville this afternoon. Even cooler, though, in the mountains, where I would recommend a jacket well into the afternoon, with 57 from Bryson City to into Hendersonville, 50 for the high in Spruce Pines. But then Brevard and Forest City, you do at least get into those low 60s this afternoon. Still unseasonably cool day with temperatures running 5 to 15 degrees below normal. In the upstate, normal daytime high is 71, so that 63 is 8 degrees off of the normal daytime high. In the mountains, 67 is your normal high, so 53 is 14 degrees below where we should be for this time of year. Now tonight, we're kind of on the cusp of whether or not we're going to end up with a little bit of frost across the upstate. We may see some patchy areas, especially in those more rural areas, as we drop down into the upper 30s to the low 40s. If you're in the 40s, you're likely not going to see much frost formation, but those lower into the 30s you go, the more likely you are to see some areas of patchy frost. And the mountains, your upper 20s to low 30s means you do have at least a light freeze on the way. So I'd be protecting your plants just to be on the safe side. Even if you don't get it up any frost, this would be something to do just to be safe. Bring in your potted plants tonight, cover up your flower beds, use a light sheet or a burlap sack to cover those up. You'll also want to water your plants around sunset. This is another way to protect them there. That wet soil actually cools off slower, and with the evaporation that raises the air temperature around the plants, so that's another way to protect them, especially since we're kind of on the cusp. So you could do that instead of covering them up. And keep in mind, we really say to hold off until the 15th, the tax day here of April there, because that's when we typically see our average last freeze. You'll notice these areas in the light blue, you get a little bit earlier, but you can still get those freezes later into the month of April. April through about the 15th is when we typically see our last freeze into the upstate. And for the mountains, hold off planting until we get into May, because that's typically when we see our last freeze, is that end of April timeframe. Good news here from here on is that after tomorrow morning, those warmer temperatures come into play for those overnight lows. Still chilly in the 40s, but not as bad, not anywhere near frost or freeze concerns. Our temperatures into the afternoon, again, following suit, where it's a little bit on the cooler side there. In the mountains, you're going to see some cooler temperatures as well. Again, not getting quite down to the freezing mark, though, again, for the next 7 days. Ladies?
Thanks, Chrissy. Well, Buncombe County has announced the opening of a Helene Resource Center. It officially opens today in downtown Asheville, and it will be a place for survivors to access recovery services. The opening of the Resource Center marks a milestone of moving from...
I know I personally tend to stick with the long sleeves when it's this cool, but a lot of sunshine today. No need for the rain gear at all. It is a beautiful day out there with all that sunshine around. Remember, it's going to be chilly tonight. While a lot of people will avoid getting that frost, just be safe out there.
It was a little bit of a cold start to our Tuesday, but it's not rainy. And what can we expect for the rest of the day?
It's still a little cool today. This is one of those, this is one of those days where it kind of depends on who you are as to what layers you're looking for there. You know, in my house, you've got 56 out in Clemson as well as Greenville, 58 in Anderson right now, with Abbeville, Greenwood, and Union just barely below that 60-degree mark there. Much cooler, though, as you notice into the mountains, as we are in the 40s. In fact, 40 in Bakersville is the cold spot on the map, 51 in Hendersonville as well as Brevard. Most of the mountains, though, in the 40s. So I'd definitely grab a jacket as you head out and about the lunch hour in that area. Our temperatures are significantly cooler than it was at this hour yesterday, where we were in the 60s. So a noticeable difference here, anywhere from 7 to 15 degrees cooler, as the core of high pressure is going to pass over top of us today and keep those cooler temperatures around. 59 degrees at 10 o'clock, 61 at 1. You got 62 at 2 and 63 at 3 with a lot of sunshine today. So as Haley mentioned, hey, we don't have the rain to worry about, but we definitely have those cooler temperatures for the next several hours, or really through the rest of the day. Even colder tonight as we drop down below freezing in some areas, and the potential for frost in the upstate. I'll talk about what you need to do to prepare for that ahead of that coming up here in just a few minutes. Haley?
Well, Fox Carolina bringing you the first alert out of Spartanburg County. The coroner confirmed
Stretch of 80s Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Even 78 on Sunday, with 71 on Monday. Even yesterday was abnormally warm there. But then we're dropping today and kicking off this stretch of below normal temperatures. You'll notice the next 5 days, Thursday is the closest we get with that high of 70. That's the closest we get to 71 for the next handful of days across our area, including today, which is going to be unseasonably cool. 62 for an afternoon high in Chesney today. You'll get 65 in Simpsonville down to Clinton, with 64 in Jonesville. Mostly sunny skies, though, today, so that's definitely the good news in this forecast. 67 from Walhalla down to Bowman, with Calhoun Falls in 96, a high of 68. Much cooler, though, in the mountains, where most areas in the mountains don't get out of the 50s. 58 in Silva, up to Marion, down to Hendersonville. 60 in Brevard, one of the few warmer spots there. But then on the flip side of that, you got 52 for an afternoon high in Marshall. So feeling a lot more like late winter, early spring, rather than the early to middle part of April. In the upstate, the normal daytime high is 71. So that 63 is 8 degrees below normal. 67 is the normal in the mountains. So 53 is 14 degrees off of where we should be for this time of year. Now, the core of this high pressure that's bringing us this cool air is going to move over the area tonight. So our temperatures are going to take a tumble into the upper 30s to low 40s. If you bottom out in the 40s, that is likely going to prevent some frost. And even some of these upper 30s, we're kind of on the cusp there. But there is the possibility, especially in some of the more rural areas where you tend to be a little bit cooler, that's where we could see some isolated patchy frost. And in the mountains, with temperatures in the upper 20s to low 30s, you're likely to see a light freeze out there. So out of an abundance of caution, you may want to do a couple of things before you head to bed tonight, especially if you've done some spring planting. Bring in those potted plants to protect them, cover up your flower beds, and use a light sheet or a burlap sack. Another option, though, for you is that you can actually water your plants around sunset this evening, especially since we're on the cusp here. This might not be a bad option for you. Wet soil actually cools down slower, and that evaporation raises the air temperature around the plants. So this would prevent you from having to necessarily cover things up if you water them before you head to bed. Yes, we had a lot of rain the last couple of days, so your plants don't necessarily need it, but this would be more so to prevent any issues with frost. And as we'll tell you, we're still kind of in that time frame of holding off on planting here. For these areas in the light blue, places like Anderson, Toccoa, Greenwood, the typical last frost is typically the end of March, but the rest of the upstate and into the lower elevations of the mountains, it's right now through tax day. So we typically say hold off on spring planting until after tax day. In the mountains, you might want to hold off till May, though. Your typical last freeze is that last week and a half of April. So some cooler temperatures still possible ahead. The good news is I don't see them in the forecast over the next handful of days. Tomorrow morning's the coldest, and then we'll start rebound back into those.
At the Greenville Zoo Giraffe Cam, where they are both out and about today. I'm sure they're enjoying that.
Fun to watch.
Yeah.
I like the ones that are active and are just kind of fun.
Yeah.
How about you?
Okay, so if I'm going to the zoo, the way I can get away with this is I say the aquarium is sea otters. The zoo, I'm gonna say probably zebras. Zebras are my favorite growing up, so they still hold a special place in my heart. But I also find elephants or hippopotamus, these massive, even giraffes, where I'm just like, whoa, I'm amazed at your stature.
Well, and hippos are You don't see those a lot.
Yeah, they have them at Disney's Animal Kingdom.
Oh, there you go.
Sometimes you'll get them in the water.
Yes.
Hanging out. All right, well, we are about to test your knowledge.
Okay.
First one's about penguins, so hopefully you get it right.
Whew.
True or false, penguins propose to their mates?
I believe this is true, actually.
They do. Do you know how?
They give them a pebble or a rock.
They give them a shiny pebble, which I mean romantic. Romantic.
Yes.
I would be the fool that doesn't know what that means. I'd be like, thank you.
Thanks.
And then I'm
What is
accidentally
this? Yeah.
mated for life.
Are we in a situationship?
What is this? Should we define it?
Yeah.
Define the
Define the
DTR? DTR? Oh, college. True or false? Giraffes have 2 times the neck vertebrae as humans.
I'm pretty sure this is false.
Do you know what it is?
I think it's the same.
It's the exact same.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because we were just taking a look at the giraffes. They are so big.
Yeah.
But they have the same as my tiny neck.
They're just all sprayed out.
Yeah. Crazy.
This
Maybe
is
that's why they have like that crazy thing. Have you ever seen them move their necks?
Yeah.
They move around way more than I
Yeah.
think our heads move around.
This is why you should also read the signs. Read the signs of the zoo. You will learn things.
You will learn things, and it will help you out if you ever
Yeah.
have to play true or false
Yeah.
during the midday newscast.
That's right.
True or false? Lions can sleep up to 20 hours a day.
I believe this is true.
This is true, and I want to be a lion. Chrissy and I probably sleep like 5 hours a day with this shift.
Yeah, total opposite.
But I'm thinking, because not to like talk about Disney's Animal Kingdom again, but I'm thinking about how many times I've done the Kilimanjaro safaris, and I'm lucky then because I'm
Yeah.
always really catching the lions awake. When
That's pretty
I should
lucky.
be more grateful because
I feel like every time I'd been to the Greenville Zoo, back when we did have the lions,
They're napping.
they were napping. They're always napping.
they got to get their sleep.
Very rarely.
All right, last one. Can she go for a perfect score today? True or false? Ostriches have the largest eyes of any
Eyes.
land animal.
Oh, I genuinely do not know the answer to this. So I am going to go with true.
She did it, folks, ladies and gentlemen. She has gone 4 for 4. Yeah, which maybe that's why when they're like, I don't know if it's just like the size of their eyes or when they're like coming at you that freaks you out, but I do feel like I don't want to be close to an ostrich.
Yeah. It could be because of the
So
eyes.
it could be a
Yeah.
mixture of the two.
Can you tell I go to the zoo a lot?
She goes to the zoo a lot. She's actually a member.
I was going to say, pro tip, yes, we have a membership. Did you know that membership gets you into other zoos across the country? A
No.
little pro tip for you. Get a Greenville Zoo membership, and you can go to other zoos around the country.
It pays to save.
It
Look at
does.
that. Well, hey, taking a video game and bringing it to the big screen, a Minecraft movie.
Rain Sunday and Monday brought things down, but unfortunately, as is always the case, we get a little bit of relief, and it's brief because then our allergy levels start to come back up. So already getting the report in from this morning from the Allergic Disease and Asthma Center. We're back in that high category with the trees for today. Mold is also on the moderate side. No grass and weeds. Those come later on in the season, but that tree pollen is starting to spike again. And it's going to be in that high category the next couple of days. We have another rain chance coming Thursday night into Friday, so that's going to knock us back down a little bit as we head into the upcoming weekend, but I don't expect that relief to last too long. Friday should be a little bit lower, but we're still talking that moderately high level, and then Saturday and Sunday we'll start to see that go back up again as we dry things out over this upcoming weekend. Speaking of rain chances, we'll talk more about that next rain chance and how much rain we're expecting to get later on this week coming up here in just a few minutes. Haley?
In today's Money Watch, what are the most popular items for Easter?
Here's a look at the rainfall totals for the last 48 hours, which is going to put us at about from about 11 o'clock on Sunday on. So not complete totals for what we saw early into the morning on Sunday, but we're looking at here about 1 to 2.5 inches. You add in any little extras that we saw on Sunday morning, and now we're talking about most of us picking up about 2 to 3 inches of rain, and it's definitely much needed because our drought monitor is still ongoing. Our drought is still very much ongoing across the area. So all of this data, including the rain from Sunday and Monday, gets submitted today, and we'll get an update on the drought monitor coming up here on Thursday. And I do anticipate that we're going to see some big improvements there. In fact, there should be a lot of places that get kind of dropped from that drought status, which will be some much good news across our area. Now, we don't have anything the next couple of days. We get to dry out from all that sogginess to start off the week. Nothing going on here across our area. That front from yesterday now well offshore and moving away from our area. But as we head into the later part of the week, we are going to get another system headed our way. So starting on Thursday, we get a small chance for showers in the morning in the mountains, but a better chance into those overnight hours as another frontal system spreads over the area. Friday looks like we're going to see some scattered showers on and off. It does look like it's going to be the most impactful day in terms of impacting your outdoor plans on Friday. And then Friday night, it clears clears out except for in the mountains, and you'll notice we actually get a little bit of snow into some of those high mountains headed into the early hours of Saturday. The valleys would see more so of a rain or a mix possible, not quite cold enough to snow into the valleys, but that'll clear out as we head into the later part of the day on Saturday. So we're starting to get an early look at some of that short range data coming in. Looks again fairly dry through most of the morning hours, except for maybe an isolated shower around the Tennessee-North Carolina border. Better chance though starts to build as we get closer to the dinner hour into the mountains. Still kind of focused into the North Carolina side of things through about 9 o'clock Thursday night, and then Thursday through those overnight hours, that's when we see a better chance for rain spread across the upstate. Looks fairly dry by about 8 o'clock in the morning, but I still think we've got a few more scattered showers on the way for Friday. Rainfall totals with this one not quite as impressive with the last one as with the last one we saw. Those totals about 1/10 of an inch to around 1/2 an inch of rain, and then we dry out just in time for the weekend and into the early part of next week. Overall, the next 6 days we're
It's a half-day park, or like we don't ever go there. It's a full-day park, and
Yeah.
people forget just how many animals are there. I mean, by land, that is
Yeah.
you could fit all the other parks inside of Animal Kingdom.
That's
because
crazy.
That's how much land they have for the animals.
which is really cool. And that's the whole point of, like, we were talking about zoos earlier,
Yeah.
and then Disney.
I need to move. The giraffe is here. I'm blocking him.
He's right. Oh yeah.
Or her.
I wonder if that's the dad. He likes to perform for people. He loves to come over and kind of show off.
Hey.
A lot of what they do at these zoos is not just education for people like us to get to go watch them, but the rehabilitate or what am I trying to say?
Repopulation.
Repopulation, thank you.
They do a ton
to help with these animals. So
you can go to the zoos and support that because they take care of them and
love
make them
it.
better. And we're going to celebrate the animals with the national anthem.
I love it.